The voice in the hallway stopped me cold, fork halfway to my mouth, cheap Chinese takeout growing cold on my lap. Charlotte's laugh, that fake crystalline sound she reserved for important people, drifted through the paper-thin walls of my post-divorce apartment. He's pathetic, Daddy. A complete loser who thinks he's some tech genius because he can fix computers. Her voice dripped venom. The only reason I haven't completely destroyed him yet is timing. But don't worry, I'm working on it. I set down my fork, suddenly not hungry. My name is Jake Morrison, and apparently, I'm the villain in this story. Funny thing is, I never asked for the role. 3 months ago, I was married to Charlotte Whitman Morrison, ambitious lawyer and daughter of Richard Whitman, the kind of old-money real estate mogul who owns half the city. I was the IT consultant who somehow convinced her to marry me during a brief moment when she thought marrying down was charmingly rebellious. That illusion crumbled faster than a Windows 95 computer. The divorce papers came with a side of public humiliation. Charlotte painted me as an obsessive, controlling husband who stalked her female coworkers, specifically Renee Martinez, my kind, quiet teammate who had the misfortune of being attractive and nice to me. Charlotte's narrative spread through our social circle like malware. Jake Morrison, the creepy tech guy who couldn't handle his successful wife. Our mutual friends, Tom, Jennifer, Mike, and Sarah, bought Charlotte's story without question. Suddenly, I was uninvited from parties, blocked on social media, and treated like a pariah at the grocery store. But here's what they didn't know. I had been collecting evidence. Not illegally, I'm not stupid. But when you're an IT consultant with access to public records, social media analytics, and a talent for social engineering, you learn things, like how Charlotte had been having an affair with Dylan Pierce, her married coworker with the Tesla and the ego, like how her mother, Vivian, was sleeping with my boss, Angela, which explained why my projects kept getting canceled. Like how Charlotte's obsession with Renee wasn't jealousy. It was a calculated campaign orchestrated by her father to destroy my reputation and isolate me. The hallway conversation ended, and I heard Charlotte's heels clicking toward the elevator. I grabbed my jacket and followed, time to become the villain they already thought I was. Downtown at Murphy's bar, my friend Eddie, ex-cop turned bartender, was wiping glasses when I slumped onto a stool. "You look like hell, Jake," he said, pouring me a beer without asking. "Worse. I feel like Windows Vista." Eddie snorted. "That bad, huh? What's the Ice Queen done now?" I pulled out my phone, showed him the photos I'd taken outside the downtown hotel. Charlotte and Dylan in his Tesla, windows fogged, her hand on his chest, both of them laughing like teenagers. "Jesus," Eddie muttered. "Right in public? Gets better. Check this out." I scrolled to screenshots of text messages I'd recovered from Charlotte's old laptop, the one she'd asked me to fix last month. Amazing what people leave in their cloud backups. Dylan, "Can't wait to see you tonight. Hotel room 412. Charlotte, "Make sure your wife doesn't follow you this time. Jake's too stupid to figure it out, but she might not be." Dylan, "Speaking of Jake, when are you going to finish destroying him? This is taking forever." Charlotte, "Soon. Daddy has a plan. By Christmas, he'll be unemployed and friendless. Then we can be together properly." Eddie's jaw tightened. "That's stone cold." "It gets worse." I showed him another thread. "Look at this conversation between Charlotte and her best friend, Sasha." Charlotte, "I planted those emails on Jake's work computer, the ones about Renee. Angela will find them during the next IT audit." Sasha, "Isn't that illegal?" Charlotte, "Daddy's lawyers say it's just relationship drama. Besides, who's going to believe Jake over me? Your boss Angela is going to find fake emails you supposedly sent to Renee," Eddie asked. "Already happened. Last week. Angela called me into her office, showed me printouts of emails I never sent, talking about Renee's beautiful eyes, and asking her to meet me after work. I told her they were fake, but..." I shrugged. Charlotte's word against mine. Eddie poured himself a shot. "So, What's the plan? I smiled, and it wasn't a nice smile. Remember what you taught me about pressure points when we were kids? Yeah. Time to apply some pressure. The next morning, I started my campaign. First stop, Dylan's gym. The corporate fitness center was all glass and chrome, full of lawyers and executives pretending they were athletes. Dylan was in the sauna, alone, scrolling through his phone. Perfect. I walked in wearing nothing but a towel and confidence. "Dylan Pierce," I said, sitting across from him. "We need to talk." He looked up, startled. "Jake? What the hell are you doing here, sweating, like you should be?" I leaned forward. "See, I know about you and Charlotte. The hotel rooms, the Tesla sessions, the whole thing. But here's what's interesting. I also know about the plan to destroy my career." Dylan's face went red, and not from the heat. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Sure you don't." I pulled out my phone, showed him the screenshots. "Nice texts, Romeo. Especially the part about finishing me off by Christmas." "You can't prove anything," he stammered. "Don't need to prove it, just need to share it." I stood up. "See, here's the thing about being an IT guy. We understand networks, and your wife Sarah is connected to a lot of interesting people on social media." Dylan shot to his feet. "You stay away from my wife." "Or what? You'll key my car?" "Oh, wait, that already happened." I opened the sauna door. "By the way, you might want to check your Tesla. I think someone spilled protein shake all over it." I walked out to the sound of Dylan cursing and scrambling for his towel. Outside, I admired my handiwork. Dylan's pristine white Tesla was indeed covered in chocolate protein shake, which had already started attracting flies in the morning heat. The note under his windshield wiper was my personal touch. "Hope you're using protection. This won't save you." J Phase 1 complete. The retaliation came fast. By afternoon, my car had "cheater" spray painted across the windshield, and someone had slashed 2 tires. Subtle. But I was ready for escalation. That evening, I put my real plan into motion. Using a combination of social media analytics, public records, and good old-fashioned detective work, I'd uncovered the whole sordid network of affairs and lies that Charlotte's family had built. First, I created a group chat. Nothing fancy, just a standard messaging app. Then I added some interesting contacts: Dylan's wife Sarah, Charlotte's law firm partners, several city council members who did business with Richard Whitman, and a few local reporters who specialized in society gossip. The message was simple. Thought you might be interested in these photos and documents. A concerned citizen. Then I attached everything. Photos of Charlotte and Dylan, screenshots of their texts, bank records showing Richard Whitman paying a private investigator to dig up dirt on me and Renee, email chains between Charlotte and her mother discussing their affairs, audio recordings of Charlotte laughing about destroying my career. Within an hour, my phone was buzzing with responses. Sarah Pierce, "Is this real?" Reporter Janet Mills, "Can you verify these sources?" Law firm partner, "We need to discuss this immediately." But the best response came from an unknown number. "You have no idea what you've started." R. Whitman, I texted back, looking forward to finding out. The next morning, the story exploded across local social media. Whitman family scandal trending on Twitter. Charlotte's law firm issued a statement about investigating serious allegations. Dylan's wife filed for divorce and posted a Facebook status that simply said, "Some people are garbage. You know who you are." I was eating breakfast and enjoying the chaos when my phone rang. Charlotte. "You bastard," she hissed. "You have no idea what you've done." "I think I have a pretty good idea," I said, stirring my coffee. "How's work going?" "I heard your partners want to have a chat." "Daddy's going to destroy you. You'll never work in this city again." "Funny thing about that," I said. "I've been documenting your daddy's threats. Amazing what you can do with call recording apps these days." The line went quiet. "That's illegal," she finally said. Actually, it's not. Single-party consent state, remember? You should know that, being a lawyer and all. I took a sip of coffee. Speaking of which, how's that embezzlement investigation going? What embezzlement? The charity money. St. Catherine's Children's Fund. You know, the one where you've been skimming donations to pay for hotel rooms with Dylan? Yeah, I sent those bank records to the state attorney general this morning. She hung up. 20 minutes later, Richard Whitman called. You little piece of trash, he growled. You think you can destroy my family? I'm not destroying anything, I said pleasantly. I'm just sharing information. Very public information, as it turns out. I'll bury you. I'll make sure you never— Hold that thought, I interrupted. I'm recording this call, and I think your threats might be of interest to the FBI's Public Corruption Task Force. They're already investigating your city council bribes. Phase 2 complete. But Charlotte and her family weren't done. That afternoon, I got a call from Tom, one of my former best friends. Jake, we need to talk, he said. Meet us at Murphy's tonight. 8 o'clock. Us? Me, Jennifer, Mike, and Sarah. We want to hear your side of this. I almost laughed. Now they wanted to hear my side. Sure, I said. See you there. Murphy's bar was crowded when I arrived, but I spotted my former friends immediately. They'd claimed a corner booth, all 4 of them looking uncomfortable and angry. Tom waved me over with the enthusiasm of someone flagging down a hearse. Jake, Jennifer said as I sat down, we need to talk about what's been happening. You mean the truth coming out? I asked, signaling Eddie for a beer. We mean this war you're having with Charlotte, Mike said. It's gotten out of hand. I stared at him. Out of hand? Mike, she's been systematically destroying my life for months. She planted fake evidence at my job, had me followed by private investigators, and convinced all of you that I was some kind of stalker. But this public humiliation thing, Sarah said, posting private photos and messages, that's not right either. Private? I laughed, and it wasn't a pleasant sound. Sarah, she was screwing Dylan in hotel parking lots, in public. She sent those texts using company equipment. She embezzled from a children's charity. What part of that deserves privacy? Tom leaned forward. Look, we get it. You're hurt. But you're becoming someone we don't recognize. Someone you don't recognize? I felt something cold settle in my chest. Tom, 3 months ago, you wouldn't return my calls. Jennifer crossed the street to avoid me at the grocery store. Mike, you told people at your office that I was probably dangerous. And Sarah, I turned to her. You actually called the police and suggested they do a wellness check on Renee because you thought I might hurt her. They all looked uncomfortable. So don't sit there and tell me I'm becoming someone you don't recognize, I continued. You never bothered to recognize me in the first place. You just believed Charlotte's lies because it was easier than thinking for yourselves. That's not fair, Jennifer said. Fair? I stood up, my voice rising. You want to talk about fair? Fair would have been one of you, just one, calling me when Charlotte started spreading rumors. Fair would have been asking for my side of the story before you all decided I was guilty. Fair would have been standing by your friend instead of throwing him under the bus to protect your social status. The bar had gotten quieter, people turning to watch our table. Jake, sit down, Tom said. People are staring. Let them stare, I said. I'm done hiding. I'm done pretending that what happened to me was okay. And I'm done pretending that you people were ever really my friends. So what? Mike said, his face flushing. You're just going to keep destroying people? Keep posting their private business online? Their private business? I laughed again. Mike, Charlotte, and her family tried to destroy an innocent woman, Renee, just to get to me. They cost me my job, my reputation, and my marriage. They turned my friends against me with lies. So yeah, I'm going to keep fighting back. This isn't fighting back, Sarah said. This is revenge. You're damn right it's revenge, I said. And it's just getting started. I threw a 20 on the table and walked out, leaving my former friends staring after me. Eddie followed me outside. That went well, he said. Better than expected, actually, I said. Now I know where they stand. And where's that? Against me, which makes the next part easier. Eddie raised an eyebrow. Next part? I smiled. The city festival is this weekend. Charlotte's father is the main sponsor. Dylan's firm is providing legal services, and I just happen to have backstage access through my IT contract with the event organizers. Jake, don't worry, I said. No one's getting hurt. But by Sunday night, this whole city is going to know exactly who Richard Whitman and his family really are. And then what? Then I disappear. New city, new life, new identity. But first, I looked back at the bar, where I could see my former friends still arguing at their table. First, I finish what they started. Eddie shook his head. You know there's no coming back from this, right? Once you go full villain, that's it. You can't undo it. Good, I said. I like being the villain. At least villains get things done. Saturday morning, the annual Riverside City Festival was in full swing. Food trucks, live music, local politicians giving speeches, and thousands of people enjoying the perfect autumn weather. Richard Whitman's company logos were everywhere. He'd paid for the main stage, the sound system, and half the vendors. I arrived early, wearing my official IT contractor badge and carrying a laptop bag full of very interesting files. The festival's sound and video systems were impressive. Professional-grade equipment that could reach every corner of the park and stream live to the city's website and social media feeds. As the IT contractor, I had full access to everything. By noon, I was ready. Charlotte arrived with Dylan around 1 o'clock, both of them dressed like they were attending a country club event instead of a public festival. They made their way to the VIP tent near the main stage, where Richard was holding court with city officials and business leaders. Perfect. At 2 o'clock, the mayor was scheduled to give a speech about community values and family traditions. Instead, the crowd got something much more interesting. The video screens around the park flickered, then displayed a simple message: the truth about the Whitman family. What followed was a carefully edited presentation of evidence. Photos of Charlotte and Dylan, audio recordings of Richard threatening me, bank records showing the charity embezzlement, screenshots of Charlotte's texts about destroying my career and framing Renee. But the real bombshell was the recording I'd made of Charlotte's mother, Vivian, talking to my boss, Angela, about their affair and how they'd been sabotaging my work projects. The crowd went silent, then erupted in gasps and angry shouts. I watched from the sound booth as Charlotte ran toward the stage, her face white with rage. Dylan was right behind her, along with Richard, who was screaming at security guards to shut down the presentation. But I wasn't done. The final slide appeared on the screens. Live confrontation, main stage, right now. Then I activated the stage microphones and stepped out of the sound booth. Ladies and gentlemen, my voice boomed across the park, I'm Jake Morrison. 3 months ago, these people tried to destroy my life with lies. Today, you've seen the truth, but I thought you might like to hear what they have to say about it. Charlotte reached the stage first, grabbing a microphone. This is all fake, she screamed. He's obsessed with me. He's been stalking me and my family. Really? I said, pulling out my phone. Then explain this. I played the recording of her hallway conversation from my apartment, the one where she called me pathetic and talked about destroying me. The crowd booed. Dylan jumped onto the stage, his face red with anger. You son of a bastard, you ruined my marriage. I didn't ruin anything, I said calmly. I just showed people what you'd already done. He swung at me, but I'd been expecting it. I stepped aside, and Dylan's momentum carried him straight into a hot dog cart at the edge of the stage. He went down in a shower of mustard and relish, and the crowd exploded in laughter. Someone in the audience was filming everything on their phone. Within minutes, it would be viral. Richard Whitman climbed onto the stage, his face purple with rage. "You little bastard," he snarled. "I'll destroy you for this." "With what?" I asked. "Your reputation? Your political connections? Your business empire?" I gestured to the crowd, many of whom were now chanting "Liar, liar" at the Whitman family. "I think you're going to be too busy dealing with federal investigations to worry about me." "This isn't over," he growled. "Yes," I said, looking out at the crowd of thousands, all of them now witnesses to the truth. "It is." I dropped the microphone and walked off the stage, leaving the Whitman family to face the angry crowd alone. The parking lot was chaos. News vans were arriving, reporters were interviewing festival goers, and social media was exploding with videos of Dylan's faceplant into the hot dog cart. I was almost to my car when Charlotte caught up with me. "You think you've won?" she said, her perfect makeup streaked with tears of rage. "You think this is over?" "I know it's over," I said, unlocking my car. "Your law firm fired you an hour ago. Dylan's wife cleaned out their bank accounts this morning. And your father's about to be indicted for bribery and tax evasion." "You destroyed everything," she whispered. "No," I said, getting into my car. "You destroyed everything. I just made sure everyone knew about it." She slapped the window as I started the engine. "I loved you once." I rolled down the window and looked at her, really looked at her. 3 months ago, she'd been my wife. Now, she was just another person who'd underestimated what happens when you back someone into a corner. "No, you didn't," I said. "You loved the idea of reforming me, of having a project. But you never loved me." I drove away, leaving her standing in the parking lot, surrounded by the wreckage of her family's reputation. My phone was buzzing with calls and texts, reporters wanting interviews, former friends wanting to apologize, job offers from companies that had seen the news coverage. I ignored them all. By evening, I was packed and ready to leave town. New job in Seattle, new apartment, new life. The revenge was complete, but more importantly, it was over. Eddie knocked on my door as I was loading the last box into my car. "So this is it?" he asked. "This is it." "Any regrets?" I thought about it. 3 months ago, I'd been a mild-mannered IT consultant with a cheating wife and fake friends. Now, I was the guy who'd brought down one of the city's most powerful families and exposed a network of corruption that reached into City Hall. "Just one," I said. "What's that?" "I should have done it sooner." Eddie laughed. "You know they're calling you a villain on the news." "Good," I said, getting into my car. "At least villains get things done." I drove out of Riverside City as the sun set behind me, leaving behind the wreckage of my old life and the people who'd tried to destroy me. In my rearview mirror, I could see the festival lights still twinkling in the distance. Tomorrow, Charlotte would wake up unemployed and friendless. Dylan would be dealing with divorce lawyers and a viral video of his humiliation. Richard would be meeting with federal prosecutors, and I would be starting over in a new city with a new identity and the satisfaction of knowing that sometimes the villain wins. They'd made me the bad guy in their story. I just made sure it was a story worth telling, worth telling, worth telling, worth telling.